Scholarship season. Will they tell me? Did I get the scholarship? I did all this work. How will I know if I've been selected? Will they tell me if I have not been selected? When will I hear back? This episode 12, is going to focus on understanding the scholarship timelines. There are timelines, and if you know, like I know, we've talked about how you should be organized in your scholarship search. This is starting from the 9th, 10th grade. When you hear of a scholarship, you're supposed to chart that scholarship, make some type of control where you know the date it opens, the date it closes, the date where you can expect to be interviewed if there is an interview in place, and the date that you may have to show up at a place where you're going to have to gracefully accept this scholarship by giving a little speech, showing up and just accepting it, saying hi to the organization that gave it to you, and thank you. What you should know about scholarships is it's a tricky thing. No one particular organization follows the same rules, but there are some things that you need to consider. And in this episode, we're going to focus on some of the confusing things about scholarships and their timelines. What you should know is for national scholarships, you'll usually hear from them 1 to 3 months after you've applied. In terms of local or community scholarships, a lot of times it's 2 to 6 weeks, and with corporate or foundations, it could be up to 4 months. But just understand, with foundations specifically, a lot of times it depends on how many times their board meets, when their board meets. So you have to be patient when it comes to the foundational scholarships. If their board meets twice a year, they usually focus their their deadlines around those times. But remember, they don't always meet as often as you'd want them to, and they're completely volunteer usually. So the board gets together as often as they do per year, but you won't hear from them until that time. So if you submit your application early, and you submit your application in January as soon as it opens, and it doesn't close until April, understand that they're not going to start looking at these scholarships until the last day when people have an opportunity to submit them. So you have to consider that. In terms of timing, a lot depends on how many applications they take in. If it's a national scholarship, they could be hundreds of thousands of them for them to be able to have to get through. And if there's a smaller one where that not many applicants, then it wouldn't be as big of a process. You wouldn't know, but there's a review committee. They have their processes. So there's a lot that goes on in the background after you've submitted your application that you may not be aware of. And all of these things are necessary steps that are taken before you can receive or be notified that you are going to be a finalist, or you're going to be receiving a scholarship from any particular organization. It could also have a lot to do with whether it's a need-based scholarship, a merit-based scholarship, whether they're rolling deadlines. There's just so many things that go into it. So what I like to recommend that students do is submit that application. You got to be very organized. Keep a list of everyone that you've submitted. I'm also going to recommend that you keep a copy. Everything you send them, do not send them anything without a copy, because those things that you send them today in January, if they come to you in April, May, and they want to interview you, believe me, when they interview you, they're going to have that same document and all the supporting information that you gave them in that packet, and those are some of the things that they're going to be asking you about. And I'm not suggesting that anybody fudges their information, but you do want to know what you told a particular organization. One student very truthfully can be a lot of different things to a lot of different organizations. Not saying that anybody's not telling the truth, but you want to know what you told them so that you will be able to regurgitate that same information when you're interviewed in front of a panel or in front of a committee of some sort. A lot of students want to know, will I be notified? If they're not going to give me the scholarship, would they tell me? Would they, have the decency to reach out and put me at ease? Some do, some don't. Some will, some won't. Most times you will be notified via email, snail mail, or well, email or snail mail, or maybe in a portal of some sort, whether or not you've been accepted. A lot of times people are gracious enough to put you out of your misery, whether you have or have not been chosen, with a letter telling you, regretfully, we've had so many wonderful applicants, and where you are at a fabulous point in your life academically, we just couldn't award everyone as we wish we could. But unfortunately, this year, you were not selected as a finalist. That's not to say that you can't come back and apply again next year if that is one of the options. If they're, if you still have meet their eligibility, they'll say something along those lines. So a lot of them should, and they should really be reaching out to you whether or not you got the scholarship. So just keep that in mind. A few seconds ago or minutes ago, we talked about a tracker, right? The reason why you want to track the scholarship is because if you are like I suggest students be, as soon as that application opens, you start working on it and try to getting it in as soon as possible. But what happens is you kind of get antsy in the time. It starts in January. The deadline's not until April sometime. So you start thinking, wow, it's been a long time since I said. Put your mind at ease, because you're not going to hear from them. They will not even start deliberating over who they're going to give the scholarship to until at least the deadline. So your application can be sitting in a portal somewhere, or if it's a handwritten scholarship, it can be sitting in a bin with the rest of the applications that are coming in, waiting until they get all the applications, and then they will start to look into them, distribute them to the committee, and they'll all be reading essays and things like that. And that's time consuming. That does take time. This is a little bit off topic, but it's in line with what we're talking about. That's why when I'm usually talking to students, if a person asks you for a 250 word essay, they mean that. That may mean that they have a skeleton crew who are looking at these applications and they don't want to read a book. They just want you to get a few quick sentences to tell them who you are. If they ask you for 500 words, you give them 500 words. There are reasons why different points are made in an application, and you are to follow what they say. Don't think, oh, they only want 250, I'm going to dazzle them with 500. No, you give them what they want. They know the time constraints that they have, and they know the size of the crew that they're working with, and they know the size of the essay that they're asking for. So with that's off track a little bit. Just keep that in mind. And all those things go into how it is that people sit around and talk about who they're going to select, who they want to fund, who works, whose life mission, or whose academic strengths are in line with their mission, the mission of their organization is. So that takes some time. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and you just have to be patient. What I don't suggest is that if you're sitting here tapping your fingers, you need the money, you're saying to yourself, I gotta know, no one said anything. If after the deadline, you have to wait till the deadline. I would not encourage this, because I don't think I'm a scholarship chairperson of a couple of scholarships. You kind of can be annoying if did I get it? Did you guys make a decision? Don't do that. I don't suggest that you reach out to the organization. But if you just simply must, do not call anyone and ask them, hi, my name is so-and-so. Did I get the scholarship? That is not what you do. The most graceful way that I could think that you would ever want to do anything like that is to send some type of correspondence that says, hi, my name is so-and-so. I submitted an application a little while back, and since then I was able to take the SATs again. Is it possible for me to send you an updated version where I scored higher? They're going to say no, but that opens the door for you to ask, oh, might you guys be making a decision soon? Will student when do you think you'll start notifying students whether or not they were selected to receive your scholarship? Something like that. But do not open the door with, hi, I just want to know, did you make a decision? Is it me? Is it me? Is it me? No, please don't do that. Okay? Or you could say something like, and I'm not recommending that you do this, but if you absolutely don't have a choice, or you feel like I can't take it anymore, when you contact the organization, what you can say is, hi, I'm just following up. I wanted to make sure that you guys had everything that was needed. My name is blank, and I did submit a scholarship. I don't mean to be pushy. However, the school that I'm attending is completely out of reach financially for my family, and just trying to get an idea. And again, I'm not trying to be pushy. I just really would like to know if there's anything else that you need from on my part that will help you in your decision making process. They're gonna say no, because after the deadline, it's not really right for them to accept anything from you, whether you got the Nobel Peace Prize or whatever. The deadline is the deadline, and they really shouldn't open it back up for you. So the answer is going to be no. But at least you've opened the conversation and maybe had an idea of how you can get whether or not you've been selected. I don't recommend it, but some people just do. So what can you do while you're waiting to be notified? There's plenty you can do. Well, I'm going to say what you should never do is stop looking for scholarships. Even if you feel like you got your education is funded, scholarships is something you're going to be doing for until the day you walk across the stage with your degree in hand. I would tell you, while you're waiting to be notified one way or the other, continue to look for scholarships. Tune up those essays. Maybe there's some stuff in your essays, the essays that you have on deck. You might have had some updating information that you can include in your essays that enhance it a little bit. Go back and review your essays to see if those can be tweaked some for future scholarships. You can, start thinking about anticipating what you'd write in a thank you note, because thank you notes are imperative. You want to always write a thank you note to anybody who's notified you of you getting a scholarship and things in that regard. What I would encourage you guys to do is in the meantime, if you just have some time on your hands and you're feeling like you have an urge to reach out, no, do something constructive. Something constructive is to go to the library if you must, and start looking for other scholarships, right? So yeah, that's those are my tips for the day in terms of what you're going to do while you're awaiting these scholarships. Scholarships have their own timelines, and you'll be hearing from them. You should be hearing from them from now all the way up until June. To be honest, there are organizations that don't meet until May, June. So don't give up. Don't think, oh my gosh, I didn't get it. But it's safe to assume that you won't be hearing from them until a couple of weeks after the deadline, maybe even a month and a half after the deadline. So there's that when it comes to scholarships and wanting to know whether or not you've been selected. Of course, everybody would like to know if you've been chosen. Not saying you're a pick-me, but who doesn't want a scholarship? Who doesn't want good news? I get it, but just be patient, exercise some judgment. You don't want to annoy anybody who's making a decision at the last minute. So keep those things in mind. In the meantime, brush up on your interview skills, tighten up those essays, and do things like that. So that's all I have for today. As always, if you like the vibe, subscribe. Please tell a friend we're here trying to grow, trying to bring great information to you. Oh, and there's been a winner. We have a winner for these for the episode where we're going to bring on the three people. Don't want to announce them yet, because where they've signed on to say that they would come. They're very busy men in their own right. That gives you another clue, but the contest is over. We got a winner. She's going to get a gift card and a t-shirt that I'm going to put out in the mail to her tomorrow. But yeah, I'm still trying to finalize the guests. They have agreed, but we can't get a date because they're so busy. But there you have it. That was the end of the episode. Hopefully you've learned a lot. Any questions, put them in the chat. Any tips, put them in the chat. Encourage others to join the podcast. And I'm going to sign off here because I'm tired. But have a wonderful evening and keep applying for those scholarships.